This is Eagles Postgame Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. 24-20.
Yeah, there you go. Get excited, Mike.
1-0. 1-0. Beat the Cowboys.
Any win's a great win in the NFL, and it's especially if it's against the stinking Cowboys. Barrett Brooks, Ron Jaworski, Jason Avant, Reuben Frank are here. And we'll also go across the street, obviously, all the interviews for you. Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, Jalen Carter. We don't know. We'll see what happens. And we're going to show you all the video that we've got for you coming your way. But we got to get it started with, to me, it's the equivalent of beating somebody with one arm tied behind your back. They lost Jalen Carter. He's the #1 guy on defense. And Barrett, when you look at that, as the guys start to come off the field and through the tunnel, that is a major deficiency with which to begin a game.
I mean, the game plan was about him having pressure. I mean, I made my prediction on him being in the game and allowing everybody else to eat because of his presence being in the middle of that defense. So him not being there and them adjusting had to be something that, they were scrambling to try to, get somebody there to fulfill that need for him.
Yeah, when you look at this, Jaws, and you called it inhumane at halftime. You can't commit an act in the manner that Jalen Carter did. You just don't do that. He got suspended in effect for one game. We don't know what's gonna happen here, but it was precipitated by Dak Prescott.
Well, first of all, you got to have self-control. That's what it boils down. I don't care what happens. You have to control yourself. This game was critical, as we just talked about. You needed pressure up the middle against Dak Prescott. He wants to plant, step, and throw. We lost our #1 guy to stop him from doing that, and it was self-inflicted. It wasn't anything but stupidity. You got to have more control of your emotions, more control of your belief in your teammates. Yet you do have other teammates that you affect when you make a dumb move like that. So to me, it's unconscionable that he goes and spits on another player.
Mm-hmm. What happens here, Jalen? What were your impressions when you saw that?
Well, you got to think about this. You have a teammate, Ben is writhing in pain, probably out for the season.
Ben Sumrin.
And Ben Sumrin is writhing in pain, probably out for the season. Instead of you focusing on him, you want to get into a tiff with the quarterback. Like his focus was off from the beginning because you should be focusing on your teammate. Another thing about that is that it was something that you just can't allow to happen. It was a boneheaded move. You got to understand the gravity that you have as a player. He's the most important player on our defense, and you can't allow something that ticky-tacky of Dak Prescott spitting in your direction to throw you into derision to the point that you get kicked out of the game and do something stupid.
Reuben doesn't change anything the way punishment may be doled out from here. The fact that Prescott started it first.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, even if he started it and it looked like what Dak did wasn't as egregious, it wasn't directed right at him, it was still bad. I don't know. That's up to Nick and Howie if they're going to take action. The league could take action. Gosh, you got to have some discipline. As much as Nick talks about discipline, playing with intelligence, playing with class, to do that before the opening day game against the Cowboys, I just don't know what's going through his head when he does that. And then he's like smirking, walking off the field.
Yeah.
What's that?
Well,
you might have caught. I'll tell you. You know what really impressed me, guys, is first 2 Cowboys drives, they get touchdowns. The next 2, they get field goals. After that, fumble, the fumble, then 2 punts, then they lost it on downs. This defense found a way to operate. It took them a while, but they found a way to operate without their best player, without their stud in the middle, and that speaks volumes about the other guys who came in. You saw Byron Young make plays. He wasn't even going to play. I mean, he had to play a lot of snaps. So I was really impressed with the way they bounced back and handled it.
Jordan Davis became a every down player. I mean, first, second, third, and he was in there on pass rushing downs because he generated pressure also. So him going into this season the way he did really helped him out and helped this defense out.
Jaws, what's the score as far as you can tell at 24-20 if they have Jalen Carter? How disparate is the score?
Well, it sure made a difference, no question that. Here's your best defensive player who controls the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden he's gone. And it's just the effect of it has an entire lineup, not just as a defensive tackle, but it impacts the linebackers, it impacts the safeties, how you're going to play, because you play tighter when you're going to get pressure. When Jalen Carter's out, you're not getting as much quick pressure in that push up the middle. That's the big difference when you have to adjust your game plan. I thought Vic Fangio did a hell of a job after that first half. I think the adjustments he had to make with the injuries, and of course, the player getting kicked out of the game. I thought Vic Fangio did a great job of adjusting and tightening up the coverage in the second half.
Mm-hmm. You know what it did? That ejection really gave the Cowboys life. It gave them confidence.
Yeah, it did.
You could see they had more swagger than they had when the game began. They were loving it, and they almost pulled off a win because of it.
CeeDee Lamb drops 3 balls. I mean, he cost the Cowboys the game. He obviously, we'll talk about the one play at the end that he dropped. He dropped 2 other balls during the course of the game. And if you got the amount of money they're paying that kind of guy, you got to make those catches.
Wait, let me ask the wide receiver among us, though, if I might. Should he have caught that ball? Was it the one at the end that went right?
All of them are catchable. What Collinsworth was saying in that situation is that it was a tough catch. All of those balls were catchable, and when you're getting paid that type of money, like Jaws said, those are the plays that you expect to make. Remember, you're a playmaker, a guy that makes plays when it's hard. That's when you do it.
Ball.
Yeah. I mean, he's their star player. He's the guy that they look to for big plays. All last year, that's what he was for this team. And, for him not to step up, but just, that's just him not stepping up for his team. They rallied around a defense that didn't have their best player, and they showed that, all right, our star left, we're going to rally for him, and they end up winning the game. You just can't afford to drop, especially 2 passes in a row, and basically just lose the game for him.
All right, let's face it. The Eagles don't want to talk about repeat. They don't want to talk about, we're defending our title. All that's out the window. But we can talk about it, and I think starting tonight, the way they did with that untimely suspension by Jalen Carter to win that game against the Dallas Cowboys and be 1-0 tonight is a huge feat. Would you agree?
No question. And I think, once again, we talk about Jalen Hurts. Maybe the numbers weren't gaudy, big passing numbers, number of attempts. But the way he managed the game, once again, I thought was magnificent. His 2 touchdown runs, they were not designed runs. He read man-to-man coverage. The Red Sea open, he saw the green grass and took off and scored. He didn't turn the football over. I think when a quarterback knows he's in that kind of game, it's incumbent on your quarterback to have a rock-solid game like Jalen Hurts once again in a big situation had a rock-solid game.
Yeah, I think that's what champions do, what the Eagles did tonight. Yes, Reuben?
This is the kind of game that all the people that ranked him like 13th and 11th, they'll be like, he didn't throw any, I don't know how many yards, 100 whatever yards, didn't throw any touchdowns. He only had the 1 long pass to Dotson. But like Jaws said, he did everything he had to do to win this game. And I thought he ran the ball great. I thought he looked fast. He looked decisive. That cut he made on that 16-yard run, man, he looked like Barry, didn't he?
I thought that Eberflus did a really good job of putting people underneath A.J. Brown to take away that read at the initial snap, and also allowed other guys to beat him. And so Jalen felt a little bit uncomfortable back there at times when looking at A.J. Brown. And also a guy that's given Jalen Hurts problem is Trayvon Diggs. He was trying to keep the ball away from Trayvon Diggs because he's picked him the last few times they played him. So that was part of the game as well.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go across to the link in just a moment, but here is a quote from head referee Sean Smith on the ejection of Jalen Carter. Quote, "One of the officials observed him spitting on an opponent. It's a disqualifiable foul in the game. It's a non-football act." That's referee Sean Smith. So it's automatic, and we'll see what happens from here. Let's go across the street to the link and check in with Ashlyn Sullivan and Dave Zangaro about this one. Ashlyn, what are you hearing about what will happen now, if anything, and what's the vibe you're getting from the players as they're walking off with regard to this win, controversial as it started?
Right, it was a controversy, Michael, for it to start, and truthfully, watching the guys walk into this locker room, it doesn't really feel like they won this football game. Maybe we're a little spoiled by this when we just came from an NFC Championship game and these big playoff wins just a year ago here at the Link, but you can tell there's a bit of disappointment how this game went. Overall, just a really weird game.
Yeah, but you know what? In week 1, it's about just surviving, get through. If you get a win, you feel good about it. Some wacky things happen in openers, and this was a really wacky game, obviously, before the first defensive snap of the game. You lose one of your best players. So it's just a really weird start to this game. But you give the Eagles defense credit, especially. They gave up points on their first 4 drives. the next 4 drives, they didn't give up any. So they really adjusted in this one and played well.
They did. They showed up in big moments, and I think it goes to show what we talked about all of training camp, that for A.J. Brown to get 1 target, for Devontae Smith not to be involved a lot in this game, for this offense to still be able to put up these points and beat you in multiple ways is something I wasn't expecting week 1, but it goes to show how versatile they are.
Yeah, you obviously want to get A.J. Brown more involved. 1 target comes at the very end of the game. I thought he was going to get a goose egg in this one. He's not the player you don't want to find a way to get the football early and often to. You're right. I mean, early on the offense looked good. I thought they turtled a little bit in terms of play calling and not being aggressive in that second half. You'd like to see them hit the gas a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely. Michael, sending it back to you. We'll let you know what goes on in that locker room.
All right, Ashlyn, with Dave Zangaro, we thank you. We'll check back in with you. Let's talk about that. Is it better to have 1 catch or no catches, Jason, as A.J. Brown did? And he's the number 1
Is it better
receiver.
to have 1 catch or no catch? In that situation, I believe that what the no catch or 1 catch is irrelevant. But you have to figure out a way to get the ball to A.J. Brown. This is what I'm saying. Maybe they're doing some things, post-snap to get underneath A.J. Brown, but you threw multiple screens to Devontae Smith. You threw some screens out to the flat to Dallas Goedert and these things. Why can't A.J. Brown get that? He's been the best ball carrier that we've had thus far, so why not get him the ball or yards after the catch guy? So get him the ball. You don't have to wait till after the play. Just get it to him right when the ball is snapped. Get him the ball.
Shouldn't that be something that's pressing, that you do get your number 1? Should the number 1 guy have to go get it, or should they get it to him?
It might be looked at as a respect, though. I mean, those guys on the side of the ball get paid also, and I think it was one of those things where they wanted the game plan and keep him out of the game, and they did a good job of it. We were just talking about it. Yes, receivers get open. You can call plays to get them open and things of that nature, but I think, they just really wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to get the ball. He wasn't going to beat him. I think they did a good job of that.
Yeah, they had a good scheme. They really passed things along underneath. They didn't give them straight free releases. The minute there was a release, there was a clearance. Also, here coming a linebacker underneath. They really did a good job of taking away the underneath part of what the Cowboys wanted to do, or what the Cowboys took away what the Eagles wanted to do. So it was a big part of the game plan.
I also thought Jalen was under too much pressure a lot of this game, and that took away a lot of the stuff down the field.
One of the things that I thought that Ashlyn said was interesting is that it didn't appear as if the guys won the game. And initially, it was a jarring thing to hear, but when you watched them walk off the field, they weren't, for a team that just won their first game against the Dallas Cowboys, they were just kind of matter of fact leaving the field.
Just think about it, though. Like the Eagles won the game, right? So we won the game.
Yeah.
But the truth is that it was aided by the Cowboys. It was aided by the weather. We talked about the defense stopping. No, the weather kind of stopped the momentum for both teams. So, and then CeeDee Lamb began to drop passes in critical moments. So when you really consider it, there was nothing that the Eagles did to win this game. It just sort of played out that they end up being the benefactors of this game. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something that they played extremely well down the stretch. Yeah. They just didn't.
Well,
you know what? When you win a game in the NFL, you take it, and I think these guys will appreciate it. I think it didn't. Look, you just won the Super Bowl. That was your last game. Everyone expects you to go out and blow out the Cowboys and win by 20. It's not that easy. And the Cowboys came in, and they're going to get everybody's best effort this year, and they better get used to it because they got that big old bullseye on their back.
So they got 16 more Super Bowls to play because everybody circled them on the calendar. They won this game. They had the better roster, and sometimes you just slip into winning a game. That's exactly what they did. But, hey, 1-0, I'll take it all day.
1-0.
One of the big stories this year on this Eagles roster, this Eagles starting defense, is the young man, the rookie from South Jersey, Jihad Campbell. And he talked to John Clark on the field just moments ago.
What was the big difference in the second half, holding them scoreless?
Just us executing, getting on the same page with each other, and really just playing to our standard. The first half things happen, but we lead that in the past, and we just look forward to the next play mentality. Just execute it, and everybody play as one.
Huge play in the third quarter. They're in the red zone. Take me through the play where you had the takeaway.
It was emotion. I know I had the vertical up. So, I just kind of had to play it. And then once I seen his eyes get big, as Coach Vic say, just don't panic out. Just put your hand out in the right time, and that's what I did.
Now, Quinion could have gone the other way for 6, but Dak Prescott tackled him. Did anybody get on him about that?
Yeah, actually, I didn't even see that happen. I seen it happen at the last minute. But, we definitely building, man. We're going to keep building, keep getting better.
Yeah, what would you take away defensively and for yourself and a lot of the young players first time out here this year?
I mean, just be where your feet are, and just be you at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot that's at task, but the main thing is, just be you, play ball, and, just play fast and physical and don't think about nothing.
Final question for you. What was it like to play in front of family and friends here where you grew up?
It was a blessing, man. It's an honor, just to be out here in the link, to get my first dub. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very excited, to do that with this brotherhood that we have that's so special.
Thanks for your time.
Yes, no problem.
Yes, sir.
John Clark with Jihad Campbell get his first dub, which was fantastic tonight. How about this? When you think about the fumble on that play, and it was on the 11-yard line, and Miles Sanders fumbles, the Eagles recover. That turns things around, doesn't it? I mean, they were going in to take the lead, Dallas.
They hadn't stopped them yet. They had scored on every possession up until that play, and that's a sign of a great defense. They find a way to make a big play at a big moment. And, you have one guy playing his first career game in Jihad Campbell and another guy, Byron Young, playing his first game as an Eagle, only his 7th NFL game. Probably wouldn't have been out there if Jalen Carter was in the game. So real team effort. And, yeah, I'll tell you what, Quinion's going to be thinking about that Dak Prescott tackle for a long time, because if he got past him, there was nothing but green. He was going to score.
Campbell's going to be a great
beast.
Player. I mean, there were some of the coverages which I'm watching the game. I'm seeing him run down the middle open. He's running with a wide receiver. It's a linebacker running with a wide receiver. Yeah. So they have, just by how they're using him shows the confidence they have in his ability. If you can run a linebacker with a wide receiver down the middle of the field as a whole player, man, that's confidence.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders has been a home run hitter. You see how Zach Bond walked him down? he walked him down so bad he took a swipe at the ball and then tackled him as a secondary reaction. So these guys can actually move out there. And I knew Miles Sanders being in the game, we were going to get one from him. We were going to get the ball from him. I knew a fumble was happening at some point.
Did you like that move, by the way? That as Collinsworth said during the game, probably cost them 15 yards trying to punch that ball out. Sanders held on to it.
That's something that they're coached. They want to get the ball out. They want to create turnovers. So that's what he's done. He did it all last year. And sometimes you got to, give a little bit in order to receive a little bit. They finally got a turnover, but that's how you create turnovers, coming from the back, trying to knock it out, and then he secured the tackle. All I care about that is he secured the tackle, because he's the last line of defense.
Sure is.